Good morning. Wow. Good morning. I was just telling Jeff, it reminds me of my old DJ days when a song would just cold end and, oh, I'm supposed to do something. All right, welcome to the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Scott. I'm going to be your host for the next several minutes. First of all, please, make it heal thyself, physician. Silence your phones, please, so that they do not make noise while the service is going on. You know, that's a good question. I don't know why not. It's not annoying or anything. The first thing we always do is we like to acknowledge the land on which we are located. And before we do this, because this is a serious question, when we do this afterwards, and I hate to be ignorant or naive, but yes, it's me, at the end of this, people say ho. Is that correct? Aho. And I have never known, nobody has ever explained to me, and I assume it's the same with other people, what means aho.
It's closure, it's kind of like amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Okay, so it's kind of like saying so it is, or amen. Okay, so at the end, when people say that, now you will know it's kind of like a closure on kind of a prayer. Okay, thank you. Because everybody says it, and it's like, I want to say it, but I don't know what I'm saying. And obviously I didn't know how to pronounce it either. Okay, that out of the way. The Eureka Center for Spiritual Living acknowledges that the land on which we gather is the ancestral territory of the Wiyot peoples. This territory extends to the communities through most of Humboldt County, and we honor the Wiyot peoples today. There we go. That means much more when you know what you're actually saying. All right, let's start out with Donna leading us in a song. Donna, if you'd be so kind, as I'm sure you will.
I'm very kind that way. Tempo, nice and upbeat. Yeah. We're ending early today, I see, with a peace song. I'm stepping out into a world of possibility. I'm stepping out into a whole new way to live. Someone waiting for me. The path is clear before me. I've got so much that I have yet to give. I'm stepping out and I'm committing to integrity. I'm stepping out, releasing every fear and doubt. The road just keeps on turning. At every turn I'm learning what this life is all about. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out.
I stopped clapping because I was the one who was always doing it in between everybody else. Everybody else is doing this, and I figured I'd throw off half the group. Alrighty.
It's syncopation.
Syncopation.
Call it jazz.
I thought it was just harmony.
Yes, it's harmony.
Whatever it is, I ain't got it. So let's move forward. This is our welcoming affirmation. As a group, we will say the top paragraph. As an individual, we will find somebody else. And boy, the weather is beautiful today. We have people who are new or visiting. So what I would like you to do is, for the second one, walk up to somebody else and say, my day is better that you're here. And mean it. You know, I said, my day's better that you're here. I mean, just really let it feel. So with that in mind, we all say together, we are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. Now get up, find somebody else, and tell them my day is better because you are here. Okay, it's not that much better. Sit down. I wanted to, we have a lot going on today, including our special guest speaker. And before we get to that, which will be coming up in a little bit, when I host a lot of times, I like to go out to our positivity and remind people of our positivity. And if you do not know what the positivity is, it's something we put up a while ago, and there's a basket out there. There's a lot of, Post-its that are shaped like leaves, and you can pull one out, and we actually request that you do, and write something positive on it and stick it on the tree. And the tree is really getting full. It's springtime. Of course it's getting full. But you can also prune the tree a little bit, because if something really inspires you, take it. More will grow back. But I'm asking you to please put some on there. So I wanted to grab just a couple of them, just two, that inspired me this morning. So one of them says, gratitude, simply gratitude. That's what it says. It says gratitude, simply gratitude. It doesn't say gratitude and I'm saying. It says simply gratitude. It says gratitude, simply gratitude. I thought that was nice. You can never feel too grateful, especially when it feels like there's nothing to be grateful for. And the other one said here, Sequoia Park is right down the road and the sun is out. Yeah, nice. And we have one of the most beautiful parks in the world, so please go visit it. Speaking of positivity, feeling great, the count was, I don't know whether you'll be talking about this, I was there last night and you do venture into politics, which I think is nice. We had 9 million people is the latest number. That's not just Eureka. Yeah, the count for local, the sheriff or Chief Stevens estimated about 3,000. One of the other police officers was estimating it could be 5,000. But 9 million people across the country came together. It was the largest protest in our history. And we are coming together for peace. And it was just a wonderful feeling to be there. I know every time I go to it, I kind of, shall we say, walk the perimeter. You know, I start from one end and I walk all the way to the other and then back the other way. And this was the longest walk so far. It went, I think, 5 blocks. And on 5th Street, both sides of the street were full. For 5 blocks, you couldn't find a place. They had to actually close off I, and I don't remember that they closed off H, so that more people could fit on the streets. And then there were also people on 4th on the other side of the courthouse, and there was music. It's a joyous festival, and the chief said there were no problems at all. The only problem was they suddenly saw a bunch of people running, and they thought, what's going on here? And somebody's dog had gotten away. I have mixed feelings about bringing dogs to those anyway, because it's so crowded, but nonetheless, that was the worst thing that happened. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful for Humboldt County. Okay, let us move forward with what is coming up. Announcements, we have all of these coming up this coming week. A lot going on. And, hello, I think this might have been last week's, unless, yeah, Steve, are you coming back again this Saturday? Yeah. You're going to do an ongoing Saturday? Yeah.
I must have sent the wrong one.
Yes, you did put the wrong one. You have to. Yeah, I know. I was going to say, can you do Jethro Tull's Living in the Past? That would be more appropriate for this slide. So this is last week's. This is what you didn't go to, or you did go to last week. We will find out what's coming up this week. However, next Sunday is Easter. And so we will be having, it's the first Sunday of the month. It's also Easter. Angelica asked me to remind everybody that there will be a potluck. Please bring what you would like. I would presume you wouldn't bring what you don't like, but bring what you would like. Dress Eastery if you wish. You can wear bonnets. Bonnets would be great. Little fluffy tails are fine if you'd like to do that too. But anyway, that's next Sunday. And that is the only thing we actually have on the schedule that I'm aware of. I think the men's group is coming up this next Saturday. Okay, so anyway, if you sign up for the newsletter, you will find out more. Our guest speaker shortly will be not Swami Bhayandananda, but will be Steve, his alter ego. So stay tuned for that. I was here last night. I will introduce him in just a moment. It was a fascinating evening, very funny and also very serious at the same time. Plant sale is coming up. That will be May 1st and May 2nd. Does Lori? There we go. Look at you walking like a pro. I am so glad you are healing. Yeah.
Just a quick announcement. When Vonda and I decided to do a planning party on the 28th, neither of us had remembered about the march, and so nobody signed up. So we do have a change in plans. She was kind enough to talk to her gardening friends, and they already planted a bunch of plants. So tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we're going to go and start moving the plants to my place and to Wakana's place. So anybody who would like to help out with that, that would be greatly appreciated. 10 o'clock at her house. The address is on this form. I don't want to announce addresses online. So, and then I have this new sheet with that on it, and it also has Wakana's planning party on the 18th. So please pick one of these up in the lobby on your way out, and please, if you can, come to a planting party. All it is digging up plants, putting them in pots, having some snacks, and a lot of great community time together. So I will be in the lobby at the end of the program, and the sign-up sheets are out there. So please join me out there, and we'll figure out who's going to come and do these last few planting parties. Okay, thanks.
Actually, Lori is now walking in awe. Sorry, it's true. It is. I can't help it. I just observe and I repeat. Let's see. Practitioners are available. Should you wish to speak with any one of us, I think we're all here today. Myself, Edward with the shades. Susan is over here. Michelle. Edward looking dapper as ever. So if you would like to meet with us afterwards, please just approach us. We will be glad to give you some time. The little pantry, speaking of which, needs time, and it also needs food. If you have non-perishable products, please put them out in the little pantry, or if you have a lot of them, you can bring them here. On Monday, Walk in Awe, the other Walk in Awe, not Lori, Walk in Awe will be here, and she will break them up into smaller packages and put them out. I don't know if you've noticed, but our little pantry goes through food really, really quickly, about a day. So there is a definite need for it, and it is our gift to be able to provide. So please continue gifting. This month's theme for the last time is From Vision to Voice. As again, that's supposed to be Donna. Angelica wanted me to make it look like Donna. Looks nothing at all like Donna. My skills are limited.
I love what you did with my hair.
I thought so too. And I did give you the necklace, which are you wearing it today? No, you were not wearing it today, so I remember you had that necklace. Donna will now come up and lead us in a song, looking exactly like that, I will point out.
I do like what that dress does for me, though. Oh, I invite you to settle into your chair. Let's take one nice deep breath together. Into my heart, come into my heart, sweet Spirit, come in today, come in to stay, come into my heart, sweet Spirit, into my heart, come into my heart, sweet Spirit, come in today, come in to stay, come into my heart, sweet Spirit, into my heart, into into my heart. Come into my heart, sweet Spirit. Come in today. Come in to stay. Come in to my heart, sweet Spirit.
And the likeness is amazing. Okay, I get to introduce our guest. As many of you know, I used to be in the National Speakers Association, president of the Northern California chapter. One of the things they taught us was have an introduction ready so that you're not at the will of the person who's introducing you. Steve did not give me an introduction. No introduction needed. But I was fortunate enough, I came here last night. I was like probably the last person to buy a ticket, I think, right before. And it was a fascinating evening. I don't know what you're going to be doing today, obviously, but the combination between the Swami, let me see if I can get this right, the biggest name in Swamis, because it's 12 letters long, I remember your introduction, Swami Bhayandananda is a very humorous, insightful character who is fantastic at twisting words, and I don't mean in a negative sense, like the grand upwising, which I really related to. And he also led us in a version of not Nowhere Man, but Now Here Man. So it was a lot of great insights, a lot of laughter. I had no idea what to expect. We took a break, and then we came back, and it got into a very deep political science discussion. So he runs a full range. So what we are in store for today, I have absolutely no idea. I know it'll be provocative. I know it'll be insightful. I'm assuming it will be funny. And you kind of look like a different version of Jeff, our band leader. So you don't see the similarity? I see the two of you as potential brothers in other universes. Yeah. So I'll have the two of you stand up and have people guess which one is you and which is Jeff. Anyway, with that in mind, I'm really looking forward to, I'm sure that everybody here is looking forward to, and delighted to have you as our guest speaker. Steve, if you would come up, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, Scott. My favorite introduction is, and now here's someone who needs no introduction. So, it was a lot of fun last night, and thank you all for being here, those who came. This is my kind of a spiritual center, strictly non-dominational. And, you know, I've given so many talks, Sunday morning talks, in front of church audiences that people have asked me if I'm an ordained minister. Turns out I was a minister in a past life, so I'm preordained. And by the way, who believes in reincarnation? Great to see you again. And again, and again, and again, and again. Who does not believe in reincarnation? Well, you will in your next lifetime, don't worry. So my talk today is about defying gravity, using levity to uplift in unfunny times. Now, my partner in crime, Bruce Lipton, he and I wrote Spontaneous Evolution, that book on the table. Bruce is an evolutionary biologist, and he said that crisis precipitates evolution. And if we look around us, we can see that chances of precipitation are about 100%. So this talk is really about how to use humor as a tool and a guide as we go through these times. People have called this apocalyptic times, and the actual definition of the word apocalypse is the lifting of the veils. The lifting of the veils. Swami calls it bringing down the irony curtain, right? Because we have been suffering from irony deficiency, haven't we? Seeing a doctor won't help, but seeing a paradox will, right? So part of how we get through these times, first of all, is by using humor to dismantle the mental structures that have outlived their uselessness, and also to create and permeate joy throughout the body politic. So that's what this talk is really about. My mission right now is to help people take humor seriously so we can take seriousness more humorously. And that's the mission. So I'll start with this idea. Swami, my cosmic comic alter ego, has come up with something called cosmic comic consciousness. And I think this is a pathway forward as we go through this great awakening that, on my more serious side, I call the great upwising, where we wake up and wise up. This is a conscious, intentional evolution. It doesn't have to happen to everybody, but it has to happen to a critical mass of the heretofore uncritical masses before we achieve critical massacre, okay? We'll start with that. And so part of this is the first step. I'll tell you a story. Years ago, Trudy and I were in Europe, and we met this woman who was a translator, and we were talking, and she says, the hardest thing to translate is humor, because a lot of times, especially my humor, there's a lot of wordplay, and that changes in the translation. It's also cultural and so on. So she was being an interpreter, translating this guy's speech. He told a joke, she translated it, and everybody laughed. He was very impressed. He came up to her afterward and he says, wow, I'm very impressed. How did you translate my joke? She says, I just said, it's a joke, laugh. That works, right? It worked here, right? It worked. So I've been telling that story for a number of years, and I realized that is the first principle of cosmic comic consciousness. It's a joke, laugh. Life is a joke, but God is laughing with us, not at us. The Creator is watching the Comedy Channel. We're what's on. We are given free choice in life. We get to decide whether or not we laugh. So, if you want to be miserable, go right ahead, whatever makes you happy. You've noticed that some people are happy being miserable. But that's better than being miserable being miserable. If you're miserable, may as well be happy about it. So I've looked at that as kind of a perspective on life. Years ago, before I met Trudy, I worked with a psychologist and wrote a book called Friends and Lovers, How to Meet the People You Want to Meet. And we interviewed more than 100 people about how they met their mate and what they were looking for in a partner. And it surprised me that among the top qualities that we're seeking in a friend or a partner or a marriage partner is a sense of humor. Why is that? It's because a sense of humor is a sense of perspective. That when things are going wrong, we all know people, and we probably have stories about it, where in the midst of something that's going wrong, somebody tells a joke or says something funny or laughs in church or laughs during a funeral, and everybody's tension is broken. So it's a great quality to be able to take life a little less seriously. And in these times where there's I call our political disease bipolar insanity, when there's this bipolar insanity where we're being influenced by one side or the other to hate the other side, it's really very important to be able to take a breath, and laughter is what helps us take that breath. Laughter causes breathing. Did you know that? And breathing is the key to long life. We breathe in, we inspire, we don't, we expire. So it's very important. Breathing is very key. And so building the laugh force in ourselves is really key. Well, the question comes up, well, okay, what's so funny? What makes us laugh? And why is it important? One reason why laughter is a very powerful evolutionary tool is it breaks us out of the dueling duality mind, where it's this or that. And, we're living, of course, in a world of contrasts and so on, so it's either this or that. And so jokes kind of help us break through that trance. You ever wonder why jokes come in threes? A minister, a priest, and a rabbi. Minister, priest, and a rabbi are discussing their legacy. How do they want to be remembered? What do they want the eulogist to be saying at their funeral? And the minister says, well, I want them to be saying he was a family man and a pillar of his community. The priest said, I want him to be saying he was a holy man and the leader of his flock. The rabbi says, I want them to be saying, look, I think he's breathing. Number one, the first one, in this case, the minister sets up the premise. Number two, the priest in this case reinforces the premise. And number three, upsets the premise. And we laugh out of surprise and delight. That's why we laugh. And what happens is the mind is busted. Now, even in real life, this can happen. I was talking about irony deficiency. So years ago, I was doing a talk in front of a health group. And at that time, I was pointing out the ironies. We call them pumping ironies. I was pointing out the irony of people who call themselves pro-life but are in favor of the death penalty, right? And after the show, this woman comes up to me, and she's really, really upset because she takes a pro-life stance, and she was angry that I was making fun of her perspective. So I told her a story. I said, there was a TV show that I saw, and of course I'm making this up completely, TV show I saw, and there were three spiritual leaders, a minister, a priest, and a rabbi, discussing when life begins. And the priest said, life begins at conception. And she's nodding, yes, that's what I believe. The minister said, well, I believe life begins at when the baby comes out of the body, the woman, the mother. And she goes, no. And then they said, Rabbi, when does life begin? Rabbi says, life begins when the children leave home and the dog dies. And this woman burst out laughing, and she hugged me. So a shared joke. Again, it wasn't, the rabbi's answer was not polarizing. It was totally out there, totally a surprise. And she laughed in surprise. And in that regard, she was, the boundaries between us dissolved. So when you take the perspective, it's a joke, laugh, then you're actually helping people live beyond that, beyond the dualities of the mind, and it's much more like the global vision over here that people have about how we're all really part of one. The second quality of cosmic comic consciousness is, I call it self-facing laughter, to be able to laugh lovingly in your own face. Because if you can laugh in your own face, this is not a self-put down, it's a put up, right? So years ago, Trudy and I were in Michigan visiting her sister, and her sister lives on a lake. And it's kind of like a working class lake community, and we were having, it was like an evening, summer evening, and there's a bonfire out there, and right by the lake. And so I see that there is an errant ember from the bonfire, and being a good Boy Scout, I went to kick the ember back onto the bonfire, but I didn't realize I was standing right by the lake, and in I went, up to my waist in water. And Trudy's sister, Rita, bless her heart, before anybody could say anything, she says, "Are you saved?" And I picked right up, and I went, "I am saved, free," and I went through this whole thing. And what happened was, I was laughing at myself before they could laugh at me. In fact, and I took off my shoe and poured the water out, and one of the guys says, "Is this part of your comedy routine?" I said, "It is tonight." Abraham Lincoln was a genius at this, at this self-facing laughter and disarming people. He was in a debate, and his partner, his debate partner, opponent, called him two-faced. He said, "If I had two faces, would I be using this one?" As a kid, I grew up in New York City, and my religion was baseball. And right, that was my religion. One of my my first yogi, of course, was Yogi Berra. This is really funny. This is a true story. This is the universe's sense of humor, right? So years ago, Trudy was dismantling her parents' home in Michigan, and they collected everything. They were saving it up for some big garage sale in the sky. And out of everything that they had ever collected, there was only one piece of baseball memorabilia. And it was a Kellogg's Cornflake Yogi Berra baseball card. And it was one of these cards where if you turn it this way, you see him batting, turn it this way, you see his face. And Trudy presents me with this card, and I go, "Wow, of all of the things you could have gotten me, you give me a shape-shifting yogi. The universe's natural sense of humor. But one of my other favorite baseball characters as a kid was Casey Stengel, who was manager of the Yankees and then later the Mets. And true story, when Casey Stengel was a rookie, many years before I was born, the fans in New York hated him. I think he was playing for Pittsburgh at that point. Every time he'd come to town, the fans would boo him. One day he steps up to bat, the fans boo him. He tipped his cap, and a little sparrow flew out from under his cap. And everybody in the ballpark stood up and cheered, and they never booed him again. Think about that power. One playful gesture opening the hearts of 20,000 New Yorkers, right? So, of course, the moral is, if you're going to flip somebody the bird, make it a real bird. So, and I've had to do this. I remember one time I was involved in a very contentious negotiation with somebody over the phone, and it went downhill. It was like a downhill spiral. Every word that was said dug the hole deeper, and finally I just slammed the phone down. Trudy says, "What's the matter?" I said, "Wow, what a terrible conversation." I said, when I was a kid in New York, we had something called do-over. Do-over, whatever it is, it's a do-over. I went, a do-over. So I called the person back and I said, "Hey, this is Steve Bhaerman. Did someone just call you pretending to be me?" Problem solved. We worked it out, So self-facing laughter engenders defenselessness in other people. It's a very powerful tool. And again, one of the ways that we can bring people together through laughter is by laughing at ourselves, and it invites other people to do that. The third quality of laughter that's very important is find the joke hidden in the picture. Now, this is when something is very serious that's going on, and you want to find that perspective of humor. And I'm thinking back many years ago, my Uncle Barney, I loved Uncle Barney. And he was a jovial character, but when he was in his later years, he was having a lot of health challenges. And my brother called and said, "You want to call Uncle Barney? He's really depressed." So I had no idea. I had no idea what I was going to say. And I called and he answered the phone. I told him a joke. I said, there was a man who needed a very serious operation. He went to the finest surgeon in the country. Operation is successful. And the surgeon presents him with the bill. He says, "I'm sorry, I can't pay that." The surgeon says, "Well, what about your health insurance?" He goes, "Who has health insurance?" The surgeon says, "Okay, look, pay me what you can." The guy says, "You know what, I'm penniless. I can't pay you anything." And the surgeon says, "Well, if you knew you couldn't pay, why did you come to the finest surgeon in the country?" And the guy says, "Because when it comes to my health, money is no object." And Uncle Barney laughed, and he told me a joke, and I still remember the joke. And the joke was about this world-famous minister who arrives at the pearly gate at the same time as this cab driver from New York. They let the cab driver in. Minister's waiting, and waiting, very patiently. Finally, he calls the attending angel over. He says, "Excuse me, I'm a world-famous minister. How come you let the cab driver in? I'm waiting out here." And the angel says, "Well, because when you preached, everybody slept. But when he drove, everybody prayed." And we went back and forth. Until his mood had elevated greatly. And even, again, in the most dire of circumstances, in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl talks about being in a Nazi death camp during World War II. He and a fellow inmate made a pact. Every day they're going to find something to laugh about. Because if you're able to laugh in that situation, or new word, situation, if you're able to laugh when something like that is going on, there's part of you that cannot be imprisoned. You keep your spirit. And give you an idea about the power of humor to create leverage or as Swami would call it, leverage in those kinds of situations. One of the jokes that circulated in the camps involved these two Jewish guys who decide that they are going to assassinate Hitler. And they know that Hitler's motorcade is going to pass at this one intersection at 11 in the morning. They're waiting for him. 11 in the morning, he doesn't show up. 11:15, he's not there. 11:30. When he's not there by 11:45, one of the assassins turns to the other and says, "Gee, I hope nothing's happened to him." Now think about that as the power of leverage and finding the joke hidden in the picture. So I think this is very, very important in these times because comedy breaks the trance of the mind. It breaks the trance of separation. You know, people laughing together. Years ago, this was a great political challenge. In 2009, on the 200th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, there was a conference in Denver called the Transpartisan Citizens Conference, and there really was the full spectrum. On the dais, I was there with my friend Joseph McCormick, who organized it. Barbara Marx Hubbard was there. Cynthia McKinney, the kind of very radical Democratic congresswoman from Georgia. On the other side was Grover Norquist, the anti-tax Republican who his mission was to make government small enough to drown it in a bathtub, right? I have to do comedy for this group, right, as a Swami. So I go, oh, well, I'll tell you, this transpartisan stuff, it really, really works. You know, now that Grover Norquist has met some of these Bay Area liberals, he's totally changed his position. Now he wants to drown government in a hot tub. How could you not laugh at that? So everybody in the audience laughed at that joke because it wasn't about this one or that one, but simply pointing something out that was bigger than the situation. And so that brings us to the fourth quality, and this is where everybody can participate. Commit random acts of love and laughter. Commit random acts of comedy. And you don't have to be a comedian to do this. Right after 9/11, just maybe a week afterward, Trudy and I are at the airport in Denver going to a conference that probably should have been canceled. And everybody there is just, dazed and depressed, and there's military everywhere, and the mood is just somber and tense. And at one point, there's a guy who's carrying his little dog that he had with him, and a little doggy carrying case. And he unzips the carrying case, and the dog pokes his head out like this. And Trudy walks up to the dog, and she says to the dog, "Did you pack your own things today?" Dog's going, "Did any stranger give you anything?" And everybody in earshot burst out laughing because the joke was not about the tragedy, but it was about something else that everybody could relate to. So in committing random acts of comedy and so on, what we're looking to do is we're looking to break the trance of separation and create healing in the space where you are. And I lived in the North Berkeley Hills for a few years, and I just loved walking there and meeting people and just, remember, I've got my trekking poles, right, which I'm walking up and down the hills. And I see a woman, and she has one trekking pole, and she's walking, and I go, "Oh, I see you're Polish." And I said, "I'm bipolar." Anybody can do this. My friend, we're taking a hike, and we meet this woman on the path, and she has this little dog, and he just says to her, he says, a guy goes to a psychiatrist. He says, "I think I'm a dog." Psychiatrist says, "Then get off my couch." It made her laugh. It was a simple joke that made her laugh, that changed her mood. You can see somebody lighting up, and that's what happened. She lit up. Now, sometimes the universe will do this for us. I was doing a presentation as Swami for Kaiser Permanente down in Walnut Creek, and it was something called the Physician Wellness Program. And boy, talk about oxymoron. They were not well, these physicians. They were very stressed out. And most of them, I noticed, were from third world countries, right? So I'm doing the Swami. It's working okay. It's working okay, but the universe did an intervention. I'm in the middle of my talk, and from the PA, I'm interrupted. We hear, "Your attention, please. Your attention, please. Will the owner of a white Explorer, license number BK3450, please move your vehicle? You're blocking traffic." And the Swami looks at the PA, looks at these third world people. He says, "You know, I've always thought that most of the problems in this world have been caused by white explorers." How many times does God set you up like that? I mean, that was a watermelon ball he threw at me, right? Could have been a blue Toyota, but no, it was a white Explorer. And so this is what, when you actually cultivate cosmic comic consciousness, and if you sign my list here, I do a program called Wake Up Laughing and Leave Laughter in Your Wake, which is really about how to cultivate this so that humor happens naturally. We call it situational comedy, where you can provide comedy as situations come up. And I've been doing this my whole life, and so it's a natural thing for me. And because Trudy's been with me, we're going to celebrate our 40th anniversary. It's really funny. I was at a wedding, and somebody asked me, like I'm an expert on marriage, right, to do a toast. I said, "How can you call me an expert on marriage? I've only been married once." A girl over there, she's married 5 times. Ask her. She's the expert. But there was somebody else who gave a toast at the wedding, and it was a Henny Youngman toast. And Henny Youngman, "My wife and I were blissfully happy for 25 years. Then we met." That's not what we have. Okay, so we've been together for 40 years. And so over time, Trudy has been able to absorb this, and she has a natural sense of humor anyway. And so a few years ago, we were visiting my cousins in Baltimore, and she and I went out to dinner with my brother and sister-in-law. We came back, and my cousin said, "What'd you have?" And Trudy said, "We had duck." And he looks at her and he says, well, how did they prepare the duck? And Trudy looks at me, and I say, "You know, you can't really prepare a duck for something like that." And then my cousin gets into his head. We're going on a long drive, and all that. So what happens is when you actually allow yourself to cultivate this humor, when you put yourself around it, it happens naturally more and more and more in your life. And people report to me, "Oh, this is what happened. I was out on the street, something happened, and I saw it in a funny way," and like that. So I think that everyone in this room, I like to think of laughter as like loaves and fishes. One person can enter a room with a joke, and 300 people can leave with it and proliferate that laughter. So remember, in these serious times, we can create laughter in our world and spread joy, because the darker forces, Swami calls them sociopathogens, the sociopathogens that have permeated the body politic. And by the way, they're bigger than any this side or that side. They know how to manage both sides, thank you. The sociopathogens want us to be fearful. They want us to be angry at one another. They don't want joy. They want us to be immersed in our darkness so that we can be manipulated by what they're selling us. And so, in a way, an act of joy is an act of liberation. So every time you make somebody laugh, in a way, you're liberating them from the darkness of separation. So I want to thank you. By the way, I want to say one more thing. I spent the last 3 years working with my friend and colleague, Richard Flyer, working on a book called Birthing the Symbiotic Age. Bruce Lipton and I wrote Spontaneous Evolution in 2009. This book is the practical application of the theories that we presented in Spontaneous Evolution. And if you're looking for something to re-hearten you about what's possible and give you some pathways to move forward, where spirit is at the center, but it has very, very, very practical applications. It's radically inclusive. It believes in including people who don't agree with us. Imagine how, if we expanded the exclusive club of inclusivity to include people that we don't agree with, right? So it's a very powerful book, and so I'm helping him promote it. So we have copies. Take a look at it, and so on. And I just want you to, as you leave here today, think about what it would be like to lighten people up in your group, in your family, in your community with heart-opening, mind-expanding comedy. Anybody can do it. Thank you so much.
We're going to do a little treatment. How grateful I am to recognize and experience the joy of the divine. I know that the divine is absolutely everywhere. It's within us, around us, above us, below us, in everything, animate and inanimate. So joy is everywhere. As Teilhard de Chardin said, joy is the inevitable sign of the presence of God. And so we celebrate that this morning, this idea of joy. And we let ourselves be more willing to experience laughter. We're more willing to let go of the aggravations that we might be experiencing and see what there is to laugh about, see what there is to have fun with. So we let go and we let the universe bring us amazing experiences full of joy and laughter, full of love and laughter. I know this is so. And so with a grateful heart, I release these words. And so it is. And our music this morning is Donna.
I was in a music festival years ago, and after the introduction of my band at the time, everybody clapped. And I said, well, I'm going to consider that a standing ovation if you all stand up and walk out backwards. They didn't, so. This is one of my favorite New Thought composers, Karen Drucker's song. I woke up this morning, something wasn't right. My poor head was a-throbbing, 'cause I tossed and turned all night. That unfamiliar feeling, it shook me up inside. The truth, it was revealing that a part of me had died. So I called my higher self. She gave me the bad news. She said, your life is just too good. You lost the right to sing the blues. That broken down old Chevy, it was eating me alive. I visualized a Lexus, and it's sitting in my drive. Oh, that man of mine, that scoundrel low-down bum, transformed into a love god with a sizable trust fund. Everywhere I looked, I was confronted with the clues. My life was just too good. I lost the right to sing the blues. You can sing the blues when you can't pay the rent. And you can sing the blues when all your money has been spent. But how can I sing the blues? I ain't got no excuse when I'm driving in my Porsche on the way to my masseuse. So you won't find me crying in some smoky bar. You won't see me crying into my old guitar. I'm too busy cleaning my chakras and chasing bad karma away. I'm fluffing up my aura, and honey, that can take all day. Now that I'm enlightened, I gotta spread the news. When life gets too darn good, you lose the right to sing the blues. Help me out. Sing the blues when your best friend puts you down. And you can sing the blues if your man has done left town. But what gives me the right to sing that mournful tune when I'm steaming with my honey in my sauna in Cancun? So now you've heard my story and you understand my pain. I'm searching and not finding any reason to complain. Stars are in alignment, my house is all feng shuied. I'm filled with peace and harmony, my bills have all been paid. I've let go of the struggle, you know I've paid my dues. When life gets this darn good, you lose the right to sing the blues.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, band. That was fantastic. Thank you, Steve. You reminded me, you said last night when you introduced yourself, you were that kid. Yeah. I was that kid. I was really, really fat. So I was looking to find ways to have people laugh with me, not at me. So I developed that early, and it's kind of stuck with me. And you reminded me about random acts of humor. I was in Winco, local grocery store, several weeks ago, and I was in a really lousy mood. And people were just in a really good mood, all the people who were working there. And so I started to get into a good mood, and this one guy came up to me, and I have a standard rejoinder, which anybody can use. He said, "Can I get you anything?" And I said, "Yes, peace in my life." And he chuckled, and without missing a beat, this guy's working on the floor, counting things, and he kind of chuckles. He goes, "Yeah, it's on aisle 5 next to eternal life." Which of course caused me to laugh, and finally one other thing, one of my very favorite quotations is from Voltaire. You might like this one. "God is a comedian playing to an audience that's afraid to laugh." So you reminded me of that. All right, laughter, joy, music. Now it's time to pay for it. So with that in mind, we have got the plates, pots, whatever going around. Please put in it whatever you can, including love and joy, and you can laugh if you would like. But before we do that, let us say together, "I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses this center, all in it and beyond, and so it is." All right, not only am I grateful for Bachman-Turner Overdrive, but I am grateful for the knowledge and understanding that we are all one. There is no separation between any of us. We are all energy filled with joy and laughter. And I accept these gifts on behalf of all of us, knowing they are rippling out into the community, making a better world for all. And I release these words into the law of mind, knowing they are already happening. And so it is. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes, so we can do some demonstrations before we do the statement of inclusion and the peace song. I know that's not the order on this, but I find it flows better. So do we have anybody, a demonstration, if you do not know what it is a validation of something you have imagined, something you have wanted, something you have seen, and then it has come out in the physical plane, if you will. Something as simple as a parking space, something as vast as 9 million people coming together for peace. So does anybody have a personal, oh, James, come forward, please.
This is about Carol and I when we moved over here. We left our house. We used to have a nonprofit. We used to teach how to grow food organically. And Carol did a class, and we were doing over $1 million a year. And we had a business in Orville till we moved, and we moved here. So we didn't know what to do with the business. So what we did was we had two people that had come out to learn how to do this, and they met each other and they got married. So we gave them the business.
Oh, jeez.
We literally gave them the business, gave them all the products, everything. And 2 weeks ago, Dr. Elaine, who the lady that Carol was working with, writing the books, Carol's written 7 books on this subject, I called them to tell them that Dr. Elaine had died. And then Scott had me get on the internet. They were teaching a class doing the same thing that Carol was doing over 5 years ago, how to grow organically. So that was the best present that we could ever have. We gave something away, but we got so much more back from it.
Do we have any other demonstrations? No. Okay, with that in mind, we are, if I can find where it is, I think this is it. Well, if not, it'll certainly be on the screen. Who would like to read the community statement of inclusion before Donna leads us in the peace song? Would you guys like, he's done, now you're all asleep? Is that what happens? Okay, Louise, come forward, please.
Okay, I'll read it from the screen.
I think this is it.
Well, I know, but I need my glasses, so I have to read it from there.
You read it however
Because I
you
can't
wish.
wear my glasses.
Okay, no, whatever suits you.
All right. We, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remains learners and listeners so we may grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. And together, we know our beloved community revealed more fully when we love each other well.
Well done. Thank you. I do want to remind our, yes?
Song, I might as well stay here.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to remind our choir ensemble, we'll do a real quick run through right after the peace song. So if you would please make a large circle around the room. If you're unfamiliar with the lyrics that we use, which will be on the screen, you might want to be on the southwest side of the building. West is over by the clock, south is over by the clock. Here we go. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes. Please check out the Swami's materials on our table by the entrance. Thank you so much for being here.